He doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like, he said something fabulous and he goes, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party. What is he talking about? That's the kind of stuff that when people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You gonna make me mess up.
Busta Rhymes has always had a powerful presence in hip-hop gritty voice, energetic delivery, intense stage presence, but despite the fame, he's kept much of his personal life under tight wraps. Now that may be changing. Tony Newman, a known former trans escort and longtime industry whistleblower, has stepped forward with explosive claims about Busta's secret involvement with Diddy's inner circle, pulling back the curtain on a world filled with manipulation, secrecy, and disturbing behavior. Tony's not just speaking from rumors, she claims to have first-hand knowledge and connections, painting a picture of Busta that challenges everything fans thought they knew. According to her and other insiders, Busta didn't just attend Diddy's infamous private parties. He allegedly helped organize them, acted as a gatekeeper, and even handpicked young fanboys to entertain high-powered names behind closed doors. The allegations paint a picture far removed from the masculine, hard-bodied image Busta has cultivated for decades. What makes this even more intense is that these claims line up with what 50 Cent has been teasing in his upcoming documentary about Diddy, days before Tony's story gained traction. 50 dropped a clip that reportedly shows Diddy, a rumored trans lover, and Busta Rhymes all in the same room and environment described by those who've seen it as disturbingly similar to an adult-themed gathering. This video, plus the whispers of more incriminating footage being held by 50, have people in the industry panicking. Some insiders believe 50 is just getting started, and Tony's testimony only strengthens his claims. What she shared isn't just random tea, it's a thread that, when pulled, could unravel an entire network of secrecy that's long protected powerful men. In the entertainment industry, Tony Newman's name carries weight in these discussions, because she's not new to calling out big names. She's published books, given interviews, and spoken at length about her past encounters with Hollywood elite. Her claims go beyond Busta Rhymes and Diddy. She's also publicly named the Cool J, Eddie Murphy, and Mr. C as men who've been involved with her, or her colleagues in ways that contradict their public personas. But this time, with Busta Rhymes being mentioned so boldly, the reaction is different. That's partly because Busta has long positioned himself as a hyper-masculine figure, even visibly recoiling at conversations about sexuality in the past. People remember how he stormed out of a radio interview when the topic of homophobia in hip-hop was brought up. Now they're questioning whether that discomfort was rooted in something deeper, maybe even guilt or fear of being exposed. Tony's statements about Busta being a kind of middleman are particularly disturbing. She describes him as not just a party guest, but someone who allegedly welcomed and entertained young men some barely of legal age and passed them along to Diddy. That allegation, if true, makes him complicit in something far more sinister than just being in the room. Tony says that several trans women and effeminate boys were approached by Busta at events, with NDA letters quickly pushed in front of them. Some refused, others, she claims, went along only to later realize the extent of the web they had entered. And those NDA letters, they weren't just pieces of paper. They were tools of silence, legally binding threats designed to keep the truth buried. Tony's boldness hasn't come without consequence. She says teams working for Diddy, Cool J, and Busta have all tried to silence her through legal threats and cease and desist letters. She even mentioned that Busta Rhymes, in particular, was aggressive about keeping her quiet. But after 50 Cent started teasing footage and ramping up his campaign to take down Diddy, Tony decided to speak up again. She believes now is the moment when enough public attention might shield her from further intimidation. The connection between her testimony and 50's footage is becoming hard to ignore. It's no longer a solo voice against a machine, it's a growing chorus. Other insiders have echoed Tony's claims. One source, known as Big Homie CC, has spent years navigating VIP events, strip clubs, and celebrity after-parties. He said Busta often made specific requests in clubs, not for women or champagne, but for hand-picked young men. He recalls being in rooms with celebrities and noticing that many of the women present were actually trans girls or very young-looking males. One night in particular, he claims Busta grabbed a young man by the neck, pulled him close, and asked him disturbingly spiritual questions. "Do you have love in your heart, young man?" You want to be a roach or you want to walk with God? The way he tells it. The moment felt cult-like, as if Busta was both recruiting and testing the boy. CC says he walked out of that room without signing any paperwork. He didn't want any. Part of it's moments like those that are now being viewed under a new lens. What once felt like bizarre, random stories are forming a clearer picture, and fans online are paying attention. People are revisiting footage from industry parties, including one particularly uncomfortable dinner clip where Busta, Diddy, and Coi Leray were seated together. At first glance, it looked like a normal industry dinner, but watch closely and the energy shifts. Diddy is smiling and leaning into Coi while Busta smirks from across the table and taps Diddy as if to say, go ahead. Coi's body language was stiff, her face was tense. It didn't look like she was enjoying the attention at all now, with these new revelations. Fans believe she may have felt something was off and Busta seemed complicit, even more unsettling. Is a resurfaced video showing Busta getting uncomfortably close to a younger male artist named Jeremy. In the clip, Busta leans in, sniffs Jeremy's hair, and invades his personal space. Jeremy tries to laugh it off, but his eyes reveal discomfort. At the time, people dismissed the moment as Busta being playful, but now fans are wondering if that playfulness was something else, an echo of the behaviors Tony and other insiders have described. Busta's aggressive behavior when questioned about sexuality adds more fuel to the fire. Back in 2006, he was accused of hurling a homophobic slur at a fan in a bar. A year later, he stormed out of a radio show after being asked about homophobia in rap, and he's never addressed those incidents publicly. Now people are asking, was that discomfort because of internalized issues or fear of being outed? His silence is beginning to look less like privacy and more like protection. Then there's Orlando Brown. Most folks have dismissed Orlando as unstable. His erratic interviews and shocking statements have been labeled as rants, but go back and listen to what he said. He openly claimed to have had intimate relationships with Busta Rhymes. He even described specific encounters and said Busta once acted like he didn't know him at an airport. At the time, it was chalked up to mental illness or attention-seeking. But now, with Tony Newman's detailed testimony and 50 Cent's looming documentary, Orlando's words are gaining a new level of credibility. Busta Rhymes has been conspicuously silent, while Diddy's legal troubles dominate headlines and 50 Cent trolls online with memes and teasers. Busta has gone ghost, no tweets, no public appearances, no interviews. People close to him say he's trying to stay out of the mess, but some believe he's hiding. And maybe that's why his name keeps showing up in these conversations. His silence feels calculated. What's even more disturbing is that 50 Cent reportedly sold his upcoming documentary to Netflix. If that deal includes actual footage from these parties, footage involving Diddy, Busta, and others, then the music industry could face its most explosive scandal yet. Remember, the Cassie Hotel footage didn't drop until years after it happened, even though hotel staff allegedly took a $50,000 bribe to hide it. If that was just one video, what else has been hidden? And that brings us to a chilling realization. If these parties were happening as Tony and others claim, if young boys and trans escorts were being passed around, silenced with NDA letters, and used like entertainment, then the story is far bigger than just Diddy. It's about everyone who helped, everyone who stayed silent, and everyone who profited while others were harmed. Tony says she still has evidence, emails, photos, and names, but she's waiting for the right time. And as 50 continues to push forward with his documentary, that time might be approaching fast. In the end, what makes these allegations so powerful isn't just their content, it's their consistency. So many voices, so many stories, all pointing in the same direction. And the common thread in many of them is Busta Rhymes. The image he built over the years, a loud, aggressive, ultra-masculine icon, is starting to crack. Fans are wondering who he really is behind the muscles, behind the sunglasses, behind the bravado. Some online commenters have even gone as far as suggesting his hyper-masculine image was a front meant to deflect attention from his private interests. One person wrote, "Some of us knew about Busta for a long time. His muscles weren't to attract females but males." Another added, "The more manly they act, the more you know something's up." Those kinds of comments were once considered trolling. Now they're part of the bigger conversation. What's becoming clear is that this story isn't going away, with Tony Newman still speaking out, Orlando Brown's words gaining new context, and 50 Cent teasing more heat. Busta Rhymes is now part of a spotlight he may not be able to dodge. Whether he chooses to address the allegations or remain silent, the narrative is already shifting. Fans are waking up, and what they're seeing is very different from the music videos and stage performance they once idolized. The industry has protected powerful men for decades. But if even a fraction of these claims are true, then a reckoning is long overdue. Tony Newman says this is only the beginning, and with more footage, more stories, and more brave voices coming forward, we might finally be seeing the truth rise to the surface. Tony Newman isn't alone in her fight to expose the truth. Over the years, several voices have tried to speak out, only to be shut down, discredited, or ignored. But the tides are changing. People are no longer willing to accept silence, especially when these allegations are about manipulation, abuse, and the misuse of power. Tony has made it clear that the industry has long protected certain men, allowing them to live double lives while publicly pretending to stand for masculinity and strength. But in reality, she says, these men are often hiding the same behaviors they mock or publicly condemn. Take, for instance, how Busta Rhymes has dealt with rumors and questions about his sexuality over the years. Rather than ignore them or calmly address them, he's often chosen to react with aggression or anger. That kind of response isn't just defensive, it's telling. It's the type of response that usually comes from fear, from the desire to hide something. Whether it was storming out of interviews or lashing out at fans, Busta has never handled these situations well, and now, with Tony's direct allegations and people coming forward to back her story, that behavior is beginning to make more sense. It looks less like offense and more like panic. What's especially chilling is how all these pieces are coming together now. You have Tony Newman's detailed account of her past encounters. You have 50 Cent, who's been making jokes and subtle threats about these elite parties for years, now moving with serious intent by creating a documentary. And then you have people like Orlando Brown, who was mocked for years, suddenly being looked at in a new light. What once sounded like the ramblings of someone crazy now sound like someone who was screaming for help and being ignored. It raises a question. How many others have tried to speak out, but were silenced before they could even get a platform? The system in place, especially in Hollywood and the music industry, is designed to protect its biggest stars. Money, power, and influence can erase almost anything. NDA letters, hush money, and threats are part of the standard protocol. And it's not just speculation, there's documented evidence of this. Cassie's recent lawsuit against Diddy revealed just how far he was willing to go to bury uncomfortable truths. Reports that he paid hotel staff $50 to hide video footage proved just how dangerous it is for victims to speak up. If that was just one tape, how many others are buried in vaults or deleted from servers? And what does this say about the culture these men helped create? If Busta was allegedly involved in selecting and entertaining young men at parties, if he played a role in bringing vulnerable people into environments they didn't fully understand, then this isn't just about who he is behind closed doors, it's about how he used his power. It's about the responsibility that comes with fame and the betrayal of that responsibility. People trusted Busta, young artists looked up to him, and now, if Tony's allegations are true, that trust was used to trap rather than uplift. Even more haunting is the psychological toll this lifestyle seems to have taken on those caught in the middle. Tony has spoken about how hard it was for her to hold on to these secrets, how terrifying it was to know things that could get her hurt if spoken aloud. The threats, the bullying, the gaslighting, it's a campaign of silence, and yet she kept speaking. Her memoir, I Rise, outlined some of these experiences years ago, but back then, the public wasn't ready to believe her. Now, with more proof and a cultural shift happening, people are finally starting to listen. And let's not forget the most damning part, Busta's complete absence during all of this. No public statement, no attempt to deny or clarify, no legal action taken against Tony Newman for defamation or slander. For someone who's always been quick to defend his image, his current silence is deafening. Even Diddy, as messy as his situation is, has had legal teams release statements. But Busta? Nothing. That silence feels more like hiding than protecting one's peace. It's not just the silence that's telling, it's also the pattern. From Diddy till Cool J to Eddie Murphy, all these men have had rumors swirl around them for years. Some, like Eddie, were caught in compromising situations. Others, like faced legal threats from whistleblowers. And yet, the pattern remains: power, secrecy, and the relentless suppression of truth. Tony's claims don't exist in a vacuum. They fit into a long-standing narrative that's been whispered about in barbershops, online forums, and quiet industry corners for years. Even when we look at how Busta Rhymes handles other men, the clues were there. His interactions with younger male artists have raised eyebrows, his physical closeness, Overly personal compliments and sometimes aggressive touchy behavior now feel more calculated than casual. It's one thing to be friendly. It's another to sniff someone's hair, grab someone's neck, or whisper suggestive questions to a young fan. And when those actions are repeated and matched with silence around serious allegations, people begin to connect the dots. Toni's bravery has opened the floodgates. She's laid out a detailed web, and she's named names. But perhaps what's most important is that she's also named the system, the machinery behind the scenes that allowed this behavior to continue unchecked. It's not just about individuals, it's about how fame protects predators, how silence is bought, and how victims are discredited until they disappear. Her story is not just an expose on Busta Rhymes or Diddy, it's a mirror to an industry that's long been broken. And in the middle of all this, 50 Cent continues to troll and tease. His upcoming Netflix documentary, Did He Do It?, has become one of the most anticipated releases in years, not just because of the content, but because of what it represents: a breaking point, a public challenge to the silence. If 50 really has the footage people claim he does, then the fallout could be massive. Careers could end, lawsuits could fly, and more importantly, people could finally start being held accountable. That's why Toni's testimony matters. It's part of a larger moment, a cultural shift that no longer allows power to cover up predatory behavior. She's making sure people know what happened. She's standing in truth even when it's dangerous. And with each passing day, as more voices join her, the wall of protection around these powerful men starts to crack. Busta Rhymes still has a chance to speak. He could come forward, deny, explain, or even apologize. But every day he stays silent, people believe the worst. The longer he avoids the spotlight, the more it looks like he has something to hide, and fans are beginning to see through the act.